Hello, Mitchell here, and welcome back to Streaming Consciousness. Today we are filming from uh, out in the mountains. Up in the mountains, I'm on a mountain bike ride and just wanted to stop. I had a very, very strong urge to lay down on the earth, and I decided to honor that urge. And uh, while I was here, I thought, wow, maybe I should talk about this. Um, I get these urges, I think everybody does, that tell you from your core, from your body, uh, what it's asking for, what it wants, what it needs. And sometimes you follow those, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's easy to, and sometimes it's just not really very practical. And so part of what we're going to talk about is, when to answer the call. So today, because I didn't really have a big tight schedule after this, I'm not trying to set a speed record or anything like that. I'm just on a mountain bike ride, enjoyable mountain bike ride, and felt this strong urge, and it was available, and so I'm doing it. Uh, Immediately, what I noticed is just the calm and the peace that the earth holds for us. And um, another thing that I noticed, and what was speaking to me right away, and let me show you that. Here's my view. And I saw that tree, and I saw that scar in that tree. And that wasn't like a big aha moment or anything. It was just a noticing, and there wasn't a lot of labeling. And I would say that that's probably a good way to be, is let's not label. Let's just notice. Now, I work with a lot of people who have chronic pain. And when I saw that scar in the tree, what I noticed is the tree worked around whatever happened. If it was a broken branch, if it was a lightning strike, if it was some sort of tragic event, it worked around it. It made itself stable and it moved on. Does a tree feel pain? I really can't say for certain. It felt to me, just by looking at it, that it was more like, get some shade here, the tree had a job to do, and it did it, and it just moved on. I noticed that the people who seem to, get into an accident, or just have some sort of a physical issue, and they're very driven, they have other things to do, they feel it, they fix it, and they move on. And there doesn't seem to be an issue with chronic pain with those types of rehabilitations. Whereas the people that, or the instances when you really create an emotional event around the accident or the occurrence, where there was a physical impairment or a physical break or damage, that emotion gets stuck into the into the into the body. I want to do this. If you look right there, there's a deer, And she's giving me the eye. She's like, "What are you doing? I hear you talking." But she's just moseying on by. You see her there? Anyway, gorgeous day up here. It's just a little ways from my house. Actually, you can see, oh, there's another deer. You can see, I believe that's a Hewlett-Packard plant right there. What I love about this place is you're deep in the woods. You're just wilderness, right? But look, we cohabitate. There's other things. There's my little bike ride. There's my helmet. So when I'm working with people, I think what I'm getting at is the people that seem to have the chronic pain issues is when they have trauma, emotional trauma, an emotional fixation to physical occurrence there was. And so the body heals itself. The body does one thing, it just heals continuously. It's always trying to return to its blueprint of health and wellness. The mind has this, the human mind has this thing called memory, and the memory kind of bites us in the butt a lot. We also spend a lot of time in that memory ruminating and going back and wishing things were different, or maybe trying to place blame, or not releasing anger, or not releasing resentment, or not releasing just what happened, and say, oh, it just was an occurrence. So that's one way that I work with people. We do kind of the polyvagal releases and things like that. Maybe we can get back into some of the instances of the injury, but I try not to so much, because again, you're triggering memory, and then that's reinforcing different issues and traumas around that. One thing that I do try to teach is non-labeling, kind of like when I was looking at the tree. I call it a tree now because we're talking about something, but I was just noticing when I was looking up, and there was just a slight breeze, and it was just giving a little, that big branch up there to the left was doing a little dance, and I watched that dance, and it just looked like joy, the joy of physicality, of being incarnate, of having mass. And it didn't matter whether it was a tree, a dog, or a person. The joy was in the beingness, and not so much in the level of consciousness that was within the beingness. Got a little distracted there, but I think that's kind of the core of everything. So I noticed the tree dancing, and then I noticed the scar. I had this happen. You can see I've got a nice scar right there. Sorry about that, I'm blocking the camera. I broke my wrist about 2 years ago mountain biking, and did my best to just be with it. Actually, I didn't have to do my best. I just was. It just happened. And I noticed as I was flying through the air, this was so fascinating, is I'm on my bike, I do this big jump. Well, not a big jump, a little jump, but some bushes caught my handlebar. I was kind of trying to catch a rock off on the side of the trail, bushes, grabbed my handlebar, twisted my bar around, so when I landed I flipped. And I usually do really nice tucks and rolls and don't get hurt. In this case, I was there was a big rock in the middle of the trail, the size of a mailbox, or actually, oh my goodness, there was a little buck that just walked by. He's a little 3-point. As I was flying through the air, I knew at that moment that, oh, this isn't going to be the same smooth landing that I've had in the past. And I think what happened, how I knew, was all of a sudden all my consciousness flew from my head, awareness from my eyes and my calculating mind, and it flooded into my wrist. I hit like this, I broke it down, or it just kind of shattered it, the top of the bone right off, because I hit right on the bone, not the wrist. And all of my awareness popped into what felt like the wrist itself, or this end of my arm. And there was a massive release of golden light the moment that it hit. And then I hit. So I had this experience of golden light being released, and then I hit, and pow. Instead of pain, there was this massive release of golden light. And it was just like a sun exploded in my arm. And it wasn't pain, it wasn't, explosion isn't probably the right word. It was just, it was, and this might sound really odd, it was the joyous expression of sensation. And kind of massive incidental sensation. And I was in that space. Now I knew it was broken the moment I kind of came to. My whole wrist kind of went like kind of did this bend, and so I was just kind of holding it there and wondering what had just happened. But there was no real concern. I knew that it was broken, and that I would have to take action. And but for 3 days, there was just like this sensation of golden light pouring out of my wrist, and then it ended up coming up into my throat, which was fascinating. This sensation of being able to open up came through the experience of shattering my wrist. I don't really recall it ever being what I would call painful, and I'm not saying that I have a super high tolerance for pain. What I'm saying is I didn't put a label of pain. This is pain on this wrist. The only label, if there were one, was sensation and wow. It was quite the wow experience. Now, I was out riding my bike again after 2 weeks, which of course sent the doctor and the physical therapist into a bit of a tizzy. They said, "Oh no, you can't get back on your bike. 2 months minimum." They wanted, but I was riding very carefully and just on the streets, not jumping. So, and with a splint on. This was post surgery, and so I have a metal plate, and it seemed like everything was buttoned up and put back together, but I didn't feel the need to be super cautious. What needed to come from it came, and it was time to move on. Anyway, that's what I had to say today. Thank you for listening. Again, my name is Mitch. This is Streaming Consciousness. Please press like and subscribe. I'll get back to more tips on how to calm and ground. Right now, the urge to stop and lay on the earth was grounding. I came into myself. I noticed the tree. The tree had a message for me, which was, hey, physical damage doesn't need to equate pain, and it certainly doesn't need to equate ongoing trauma. So we can just take it from the tree. And my little story about the wrist, that there might be a gift there, and let's look for the gift in the crash rather than the oh no. So you guys have a wonderful day. Again, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.